to Inside the Salesforce Ecosystem, the series where we dive into the stories and journeys that shape the Salesforce world. I'm your host, Luke White, and in today's episode, we're joined by Moez Chaabouni, the founder and CEO of Summit, a Salesforce-exclusive implementation partner. With decades of experience across financial services, higher education, and the public sector, Moez has become a trusted advisor to organizations looking to drive transformatic in automations within the Salesforce platform. So let's jump into the conversation. Thank you very much for joining me. And we'll kick off, with an introduction. I've done a little introduction, but it's always good to hear from you, an introduction about yourself and your role as founder and CEO at Summit.
Thank you, Luke. Yes, we have, prior to joining the Salesforce ecosystem, I had the fortune of working with many different IT companies, many different software providers as the consumer or as the client. And I have seen the transformation of ecosystems over the many years and many decades. And Salesforce stood out for a number of reasons, which we'll get into. But when I decided it was time for me to leave the public sector after being the deputy CIO for the city of Columbus and get back into the private sector and start a specialized consultancy, Salesforce ecosystem came as a front runner for reasons and justifications, which we'll get into here shortly. My role is really primarily to enable our what I would consider a team of high performers go out there and do the job they love to do. That is my goal, that we are not trying to boil the ocean. We are what I would call a boutique consultancy focused primarily on the Salesforce ecosystem. We want to do a great job and stay vertical and stay really, as considered the experts in this field. And that's really our goal.
Fantastic. So do you guys cover any specific industries focused? Obviously, with your background in public sector, is that a sector you focus on, or do you tend to sort of cast a wider net?
Initially, in the early days of the company, of course, we did adopt more of a wide net approach, kind of a shotgun approach. But as our team engages with different projects and different industries, and even Salesforce pushes us also towards specialization, we have come accustomed to a few industries that are core to us. Geography plays a big role in this. We are headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, Central Ohio, and it is a hub for, it is the capital city for the state of Ohio, so public sector is prominent. It's also home for the Ohio State University, which is one of the premier schools and universities in the country. So higher ed naturally is also part. And my own personal affinity to higher ed and financial services, because we are in Columbus also, and financial services happen to be a big hub for us. So these are industries that we focus on: financial services, higher education, public sector. And of course, Ohio is a manufacturing, has a manufacturing history. So there's still quite a bit of manufacturing, including Honda of North America and a few other big prominent manufacturing companies. So that's another sector we focus on as well.
Okay, they're fantastic. That sounds good. So you mentioned obviously about sort of finding a Salesforce ecosystem. So let's drive a little bit into that. So how did your journey with the Salesforce ecosystem begin, and then what led you then to go on to start Summit?
This is an interesting question, and I was fortunate. I mean, I guess they say it's the intersection of opportunity. I mean, luck is an intersection of opportunity and preparation, right? And I was lucky in that sense. When I left the city of Columbus, I joined a small company called Informatica. I'm just kidding. It's not a small company. I was, and part of that journey at the time, this was early 2016, I went to a big gathering at Informatica, their own version of Sales Kickoff, and at the time, Salesforce was a heavy investor into Informatica. The history was that Informatica went private in 2015 or 2014, and Salesforce invested heavily into Informatica with probably the goal is to acquire Informatica. This is way before MuleSoft. And I saw in those discussions, those conversations, I was, part of the meetings was a briefing on the roadmap of Salesforce and the roadmap of how data was going to play a big role into the future of Salesforce, and the tight partnership between Informatica and Salesforce, and that really combined with some other information that I had regarding the whole movement of low code, no code, and where the future of IT was headed. Having been in that space on the consuming side, I thought, okay, if anybody is going to start a consulting group or a consultancy, there aren't really many contenders. Salesforce, I would say, comes to the top of the stack. There are a few others, we won't mention them, but Salesforce definitely top of the stack on that. And that stayed with me until I met the other founding partner, and we discussed it, and he was all about it, and we founded the company. Of course, he's no longer with the company now, but he was also instrumental in codifying the idea itself, and also vetting it and making sure that we created Summit as a Salesforce implementation partner exclusive to Salesforce.
Yeah, no, so it's fascinating. So I'm going to lean a little bit on the journey you've had so far with sort of your experience in IT, CRM, enterprise architecture. So I guess what are some of the biggest shifts that you've seen in the industry? So maybe even just since you've started Summit, or even before that as well.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, back in the early days of my CIO tenure, CRM and ERPs are fundamental components to any functioning organization. And, I can go back to way the early days when my first CRM implementation was with Siebel. And it was fraught with problems. One would say it was not a tremendous success by any stretch of the imagination. And, there are lots of lessons learned. But CRM, obviously, with the onset of participatory technologies, where now your client or your constituent is participating in your workflows, it's no longer a passive, a passive posture. It's more of an active and contributing posture. CRM had to evolve with that. So there are a few things, a few movements that really got us to this point. You can't point to just one thing. I think it's a culmination of multiple things. First of all, the whole concept of low code, no code. It allows fast time to value. It shortened that period, so you can get up to speed. You can deploy a lot faster than having to actually code a lot of stuff. The skill gap also has narrowed, because now you no longer have to focus on traditional IT credentials. You need to augment the team with creative credentials, and those creative credentials add a lot more than what they did in the past. Those creative credentials give you a leg up on business processes, give you a leg up on creativity, give you a leg up on revamping how you do business, because like it or not, IT professionals tend to be very pragmatic and very straightforward, and sometimes they don't like to go over their skis and expand the horizon, further than their comfort zone. So it takes, a combination of right brain, left brain to make that shift. And the creative part really now has been enabled with low code, no code. So we're in a much better position, from a core competency to be able to implement CRM. That combined with the cloud. The cloud I view this as probably one of the biggest shifts in the 20th and 21st century. The reason is the cloud, with utility computing, it sounds, it sounds very simple, but in fact, it is a game changer. The game changer is the fact that now smaller organizations can punch above their weight.
Yep.
There is almost an equity process that's been put for all organizations of all sizes to be able to participate at their pace and at their budget. Without the cloud, we couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
The barrier to entry into CRM was impossible. The small to mid-market companies could not afford a CRM because it required tremendous infrastructure, tremendous subject matter knowledge, and a tremendous investment. And a lot of the times they fail for various reasons, including not committing enough resources, both on the development and on the adoption side, and there's reason for those failures, and I've personally experienced those. So I think the cloud changed all that. I wholeheartedly believe it. I see it now. For as little as a few $1,000s, a small organization can implement a CRM. That's unheard
It's
of.
crazy. Yeah.
So there are a few things. These are, like I said, they're compound. A lot of small things, maybe not so small, with compounding effect, have created an environment where now CRM is more prominent. And with Salesforce specifically, Salesforce ecosystem is not just a CRM. It's an automation platform. So it goes well beyond just the CRM. CRM is fundamental, but now you can do just so many things. Salesforce is positioning itself as a data company, and the power of data is everything we know. It's AI, it's automation, it's agentic, it's it's the future. It's data is everything.
Yeah, indeed. And I think that's the big change. I still remember the days of when I used to work in IT support 20 years ago, when you still had the old server rooms. They're always nice to go into when it was hot. You get a nice, cool, air-conditioned server room. But yeah, that on-prem is now sort of disappeared. Not much on-prem happens anymore. I guess only when it's sort of like military stuff or government stuff, sometimes still on-prem. But a lot of it now is all cloud, and we've all adopted it.
Yeah, and that movement is only getting more and more traction. We're in Central Ohio here. We see that. Intel is having a big installation here. AWS, Amazon keep building more and more data centers. Same thing with Microsoft. All these companies that have the cloud hosting are just basically aggregating all the computing power within their walls. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, this next question is always a difficult one, I think, for people to answer, but it's always a nice question to ask. So what does a typical day look like for you as a leader running a Salesforce consulting firm? Is there one?
So this is a very important topic, actually. How do you run a consulting group but also stay grounded, and not get too far out in what I would consider to be the cloud, of your own making. So my day is fairly structured. There's really, especially the early parts of the day. The later parts of the day can be creative and can be more forward-looking, I would say. But let's focus on what we sell. What we sell is what I call, we trade time and skill for dollars. That's what we do. Our product is our people. Our product is our brain power. Our product is our time. And ever since the pandemic, we used to have a physical office. Everybody came into the office. We had our stand-up huddle, where we all stand up and talk about our day. And then we go about our business, and we reconvene whenever we feel is appropriate in smaller groups. That has changed with the pandemic. Our workforce is now distributed. The physical office is no more because nobody wanted to come back to it. So now we are 100% virtual. Everybody works from their home. and or from an office of their choosing. We have not changed the culture of our daily stand-up. All hands on deck. That's how we start the day. We start the day by going through our accomplishments of yesterday and what we have for us to do today, and which is our daily huddle. And then after that, it's many succession, of tactical engagements with the different teams, just to make sure that, whatever blockers, whatever progress we need to make is taken care of. That eats up about the solid morning for me, just to make sure that I get through all the technical pieces. The afternoon then becomes more creative. The afternoon is where I engage with the leadership of the company on some strategic initiatives. I engage with our partners. I engage with our clients, and basically, set the stage for a few months from now, a few years from now. What are we doing? How are we moving the organization according to our plans and according to our desires of where we need to be? So that's kind of the day in the life for me. The consultants, of course, have their own different plans and ways of handling their days.
Yeah, I think it's similar to me. Similar to me. It's the mornings are full of meetings, and then the afternoons tend to be a bit freer to do some other pieces, because to get those meetings done, and then you've got the rest of the day to then do the other pieces that the larger projects, so to speak.
Yeah.
So no, interesting. Yeah, very interesting. So now moving on to sort of maybe some of the Salesforce community. So you're a co-founder of Buckeye Dreaming. So what inspired you to launch this community event, and how have you seen it grow over the last few years?
Buckeye Dreaming is really a great event. We love it. We love it for many reasons. Obviously, Ohio is the Buckeye State. Columbus is the headquarters of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So there's reason for the name. But how it came to be was a bit of an interesting, again, preparation and opportunity makes good luck. So here's how it came to be. First of all, as we all know, Salesforce has Dreamforce, where we all get together in October and celebrate the year and get exposure to all the great things Salesforce is doing. But really, it's too big. Everybody says it's a great celebratory type situation, but you really don't get much done. I mean, you're there to network. You're there to do whatever you can do. Where you actually do the networking, do the learning, and all that is at these regional dreaming events. And for the longest time, we had in the Midwest, we had Midwest Dreaming. Midwest Dreaming was run out of Chicago, which is from us is about 6-hour drive. But it covered Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, a few surrounding states, Minnesota and Wisconsin and all that. Midwest Dreaming got to be a little too expensive to run in Chicago, so the planning committee decided to move it to Minneapolis. So it is no longer a close proximity to us in Ohio or Michigan, West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana even. So we talked to them and we asked if that was going to be permanent, and it was a confirmation that was going to be a permanent move. So very quickly, a friend of mine and myself reached out to Salesforce, and we asked that we create a new chapter called Buckeye Dreaming, focused on Central Ohio and surrounding states. So we attract audience from Michigan, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, and Illinois. And they were very receptive to it. Pennsylvania, of course, also, and New York. And we launched it, as a trial, and it was a tremendous success. We're in our third year now. It is a great event. We attract people from all over the world. We have people from the UK, we have people from Australia, we have people from New Zealand. of course, all over Asia and European countries. So it's a tremendous opportunity. We love it. We look forward to it every year, and it's something that we're very proud of.
That's great. Yeah, and one of my colleagues is speaking this year. So
Yes.
Michael Fox is there speaking there this year. So we're looking forward to that one as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
So actually, building on that and sort of the Salesforce partnership and partnerships in general within the ecosystem. So let's take a look at Summit first. So what makes Summit unique in the Salesforce sort of partner ecosystem?
And this is always, what is our competitive differentiator, the question. So we do a few things differently. First of all, probably the most important one is our focus. We are not a general consultancy. We are a Salesforce-exclusive consultancy. And even that, we try not to get distracted by too many things. So we focus primarily on certain industries, like higher ed, public sector, manufacturing, financial services. So while we can do all the core CRM and all the what Salesforce considers, case management and service management and all that, but we also like to specialize in some of these industries because we bring domain expertise in that space. I think our biggest differentiator is our depth and the fact that we hire the best of the best. That is our hiring practice. Our consulting group is so deep in the technology and so well versed that I have zero issues of anybody on our team being customer facing. And that is a core requirement. Is every single person has the opportunity and and almost the responsibility to go and speak on behalf of the company and be customer facing. So the level of depth and the level of maturity of our consultants is tremendous, both as far as acumen business wise, but also technical depth. We're a company of 30 individuals, and we have 5 architects on the team. So that gives you an idea that of how deep our team is and how technically adept they are, and that's very important for us. We want to hire the best, and we want to continue to present ourselves as the experts.
Oh, perfect. Now, talk a little bit about some trends in the ecosystem, and I think would be amiss not to talk about the biggest trend in the Salesforce ecosystem with Agentforce and AI. So, how have you maybe adapted or see the future of especially AI and Agentforce shaping sort of Salesforce consulting?
That's a very good question, and it's no secret. AI is definitely the future of IT, the future of business, and this is our reality. There is a lot to be done in AI. I happen to have a personal experience with AI because my entire graduate studies for master's and beyond and doctorate was on artificial intelligence for the military. So I would like to ground us a little bit on where we are today. What we see in the commercial space today, 40 years later, is actually what we had in place for the military about 40 years ago. So it comes as no surprise to me personally, as which is about a generational gap, one generation behind. So what the military is working on today is one generation ahead of us, which is about 30 years. But even with all the commercial advancements of AI, there's still what I call some fundamental missing components. Salesforce has been on the front end of this. They have developed the technology, but I'm afraid that IT as a practice has not caught up. So I just wrote recently just a small little snippet on LinkedIn, and basically asked the question, I'm like, AI is great to deploy. Why? And if if you can trust it. And what I mean by that is, what are the guardrails that any organization has established before they can deploy AI? And what I mean by the guardrails is, do you know the content of what's being shared and what's being discussed? Have you vetted your agents? I mean, would you effectively, you're turning your organization's keys to an agent.
Mm.
Would you do that with an intern person? I mean, because an agent is probably no more trained than your basic intern coming into the company, because they're uninitiated. Would you turn the entire company ways of doing things to an intern right out of the gate without training them, without monitoring them, without giving them guidance? And it's the same thing. So I think the concept of agent ops need to be front and center. We have DevOps, we have all kinds of other ops in place. We've mitigated the risk of bad software development through DevOps. Okay, great. Can we mitigate the risks of bad agent deployment with agent ops? I think there's merits to that. There is a discussion that needs to be had for us to have the confidence that technology is going to deliver at a minimum at the same level a well-trained professional can, or maybe even better, if we do our job well. So I see it as the future. I see it as inevitable, and a tremendous opportunity for those that can harness it well. But I also see that in the current state right now, we got some work to do.
Yeah, indeed, and it's the speed of the evolution of it, which I think is the thing that's taken everybody to take a look and take a step back. Maybe it's the speed, because we just improve everything so quickly. If we just look at Agentforce when it was launched, and then 2.0 was pretty quick, and how quickly before we get to 10.0, etc., as it evolves. So no, true. Now, obviously, having you here as a partner of PDF Butler, it would be amiss not to ask a question about that. So, how has partnering with us, PDF Butler, helped you deliver some improved solutions to some of your clients?
I think PDF Butler, obviously, we have a great partnership, and we will continue that. I think your product evolution, has been spot on. You are riding along with the wave, and you're present where we think you should be. The whole doc management in general is a necessary component. Salesforce has made a decision to leave that to the ISV ecosystem early on. I hope they will continue doing that, because I think the ISVs can react faster to the specific needs of the clients, and you guys have been fantastic in providing that. We have seen your competition grow too big and not being able to respond fast enough. I hope, on your trajectory, you stay nimble, and I think I have the confidence that you guys will. It's a fantastic opportunity for all of us, because the need is there. Again, as long as Salesforce allows these capabilities to be brought on by the ISVs and not, get in direct competition with you, hopefully that we can continue this great partnership. And, it has been wonderful working with you guys.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, we love working with you and the team as well, and it's really good to work with you. It's always nice to find some good consultancy firms out there, because they're not all made equally, as we know. So it's good to find the good ones, and that's what we're really pleased about.
And and most importantly, I think at the end of the day, the product works and works great, and that's really if the product does not give you the headaches, then everything else, really falls into place. And I mean, our team has had nothing but accolades for your products. Easy to use, easy to learn, easy to deploy. And at the end of the day, the end users are happy too, because, they get what they ask for, which is fantastic. So our clients are happy, our consultants are happy. I mean, what can you ask for?
Exactly, yeah. Same as us. That's what we like to do. Happy clients are what we like to hear about. So that's really good. So then, as we begin to sort of wind down a little bit, last couple of questions now. So, what advice would you give to any professionals looking to break into the Salesforce ecosystem, or even maybe starting their own consultancy firm?
Well, it's. I'll start with telling you a little story that we had a few months ago, maybe a couple of years ago. I don't know. It was a while back. We had a very high-powered consultant, and this is. I won't mention the product. It was a Salesforce product. It came out and it wasn't fully baked. Okay, we all, that happens, and it's going to happen. There are times when we rush into release and it's not there yet 100%. So we're in a situation where the client has already bought into it. We're implementing it for them, and we're there to do a show and tell of what was accomplished. And that day, things just were not working great. Things were erroring out, and so that consultant, instead of taking a pause and saying, you know what, it's not happening today, we need to reschedule until I sort all this out, and bow out gracefully, he felt the need to make himself potentially maybe look better by just totally trashing the product. Okay, there's, it was a bad move, and so I pulled him aside, after the fact. I'm like, what would you think you would have gained by doing that? First of all, this is the product that the client has bought. They already invested in it. Trashing it, do you think it's going to look better because he trashed the technology? They don't care. All they care about is the fact that now they have invested into something that's not working and you are not able to help them. That's all they took from that call. You cannot help them with their investment. So if you think you're going to look better, it's not going to happen. They're already looking at somebody else that can help them. So you're out. And on top of that, let's talk about you as the consultant getting into this business. I'm like, first of all, realize that there's not a single perfect product out there. Do we all agree on that? He's like, yeah, we all agree. Every product will have bugs. I don't care how well it is written. At some point, you're going to push the limits on it and you are going to run into issues with it. The question is, how do you handle it? Is a reflection on you, not on the product. Because the product will get better. Are you going to get better with it? So that's one thing, I'm like, if we're not sharpening the saw every day on our technologies, on our skills, we're not doing ourselves favors. So if you're going to get into consultancy, you'd better be ready to sharpen the saw every day for the rest of your life. If that's not your DNA, that's not your career. Choose something else. Number two, we chose Salesforce as the technology of our choosing. If you bash Salesforce or any of the ISVs, you know what that is? That's a reflection on your choice, not a reflection on them. You chose the wrong technology to be engaged in. So what does that tell the rest of the world? I made the wrong choice. Well, guess what? Correct it. Get out. Go do something else. This is all within your power to do that. So all this is to say that if you're trying to get into this ecosystem, embrace it fully, apply all your energy towards understanding it, towards working with it, towards bettering yourself, and do not get distracted by all the shortcomings, real or perceived, of the technology and the ecosystem. Because if you look for those, you're going to find them. If you look for ways to get better, now you're going to find that too. That's the recipe for success.
No, that's a great advice. Yeah, no, I love that. That's really good. Yeah, indeed. So last question. So we've talked about work, we've talked about Salesforce, but yeah, what do you do outside of work? Have you got any hobbies or passions that you enjoy in the free time to just disconnect from the wonderful world that is Salesforce and running a business?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, if it was all Salesforce, I'd be even very dull. Indeed. No, I do enjoy quite a few hobbies. I'm an avid sailor, so I like to get on the water as often as I can. Um, Local lakes, including surrounding lakes here in Ohio, as well as blue waters, Mediterranean, Caribbean, anywhere I can get a sailboat. Anywhere they allow me to charter a boat and get out. I'm all about it. I love seeing the world on boats. I like to travel a lot, so at least 2, 3, 4 trips a year for recreation purposes.
Yep.
I like fast cars and fast motorcycles. So I'm not part of the Fast and Furious crowd yet, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy speed, and I'm a gearhead at heart. So
Oh, okay. Stuff to definitely shift from the day to day, the 9 to 5,
absolutely,
so to speak. Well,
yes.
thank you very much for joining me. Absolute pleasure, lovely conversation, and we look forward to working with you and the team even more. And yeah, good luck with Buckeye this year. It's going to be another good event, so I know some of my team will be there, so that's fantastic. And yeah, thank you for the time. Really appreciate it.
Luke, thank you so much. I hope maybe you can make it to Buckeye Dreaming someday in person. I'd love to see
Yeah,
you.
someday, hopefully. Yeah, it'd be great to meet you in person as well. Fantastic. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Take care,
Bye.
Luke.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.